Hi.
Hello, friends.
Hi, everybody.
We're live. Can you tell? All right. Oh, and now Burke left.
I got two of me, so I sound like I have an echo.
Oh.
Yes, indeed, because the mic is on.
So-
Okay, so we're live. I don't know if anyone can tell, but we are live.
Hey,
Yeah.
happy New Year's Eve to everybody out there. Thank you so much for joining us for our best of 2022.
Hi.
Great to have Kathy and Burke, of course, myself, and of course Natalie, our special guest, who comes in every now and then and offers her expertise. Hi, Natalie.
And
How you doing?
Hi, I kicked out Burke. Like, it's me.
So yeah, thanks for joining us on this New Year's Eve before the start of 2023. So it's always great to look back at 2022, the best of, whether it's a movie or TV show. And it's great to have everybody. Valley Escapes, hello, Happy New Year.
Hi.
Catherine, hi. Sunny Singh, Happy New Year. Aim, wonderful to see everybody.
Thanks for making sure I had New Year's
Sunny.
plans.
These are my
Aw.
plans. This is it.
Yeah. And well, you know, it's before we get into the best of 2020, we all have our top 10 list. It'd be kind of fun to do sort of a live trailer reaction for something that's brand new. The brand
Just
new trailer
came out. Literally
just came
hours
out a
ago.
few hours ago. So we're going to do something different, a live trailer reaction. Okay.
Woo.
Yeah, for that film called Thunivu. I hope
Hi,
I pronounced
Viper.
it correctly. Oh, hi, Viper. And this is the film starring Ashith Kumar that is being released on January 11th. It's kind of a criminal mastermind, robs a bank and sort of a standoff and negotiations, one of those kind of films. So I think we did the teaser a while back. We're going to do the full trailer right now. We're pretty close to right now, right, Kathy?
We are very close. Burke's
Okay.
having echo problems because he's in the room twice, but we're going to go ahead and proceed.
Okay.
It's tech,
It's tech stuff. Hi, Deepan. Hi, guys. I'm going to say hello on my comments. Hello,
Yeah.
everyone,
I'm pulling up the trailer now.
for joining us.
All right. Here we are.
Beautiful. Okay, so are we ready
Everybody
to
ready?
watch this?
I'm
Yes.
ready.
Yeah.
Okay, you
Let's
guys.
check it out.
Here we
Let's
go.
check
This
it
is the
out.
first time we watched this. All right.
மக்கள் பணத்தை கொள்ளையடிக்கிறீங்க வெக்கமல்ல
No.
இல்ல
ஒரு திருடன் பேங்க்குள்ள நுழைஞ்சா உள்ள இருக்கவங்க என்ன பண்ணணும்னா
ரூல் நம்பர் 1 டோன்ட் ஆக்ட் ஹீரோ அந்த வேலையை நான் பார்த்துக்கிறேன்
உங்களுக்கு என்னதான் சார் வேணும்
பேங்க்குள்ள வந்து பியரும் ரெண்டிமா கேட்பாங்க
எல்லா கிரிமினல்ஸ் பத்தியும் இப்படிதான் பில்டப்பா சொல்லுவானுங்க ஆனா அவனுக்கு நம்ம கிட்ட மாட்டி அடி வாங்கி கையெடுத்து கும்பிடும் போது மரியாதையா வெளியில வந்துரு
என்ன மாதிரி ஒரு அயோக்கிய பையன் மேல கைய வைக்கலாமா
பணம் தம்பி பணம்
பவர் ஆபீசர் பவர்
ஆர்டர்ஸ் சார் ஆர்டர்ஸ்
சரண்டர் ஆர் டை
மொத்த செய்யும்
All right. That was so fun. I love like a cocky bank heist.
Yeah.
I know.
He
Well,
took that
it-
hood off and his hair was perfect.
I know. Yeah.
It is so interesting to see these, and we've mentioned this before in other films, specifically Indian cinema. A lot of these heroes or anti-heroes are a bit older than the ones we see in most U.S. films. You know, other than
Yeah.
other than Liam Neeson, there's really nobody else that does that. But here, there's a lot of older actors that sort of have the badass look,
Yeah,
the sunglasses.
it's almost like that sort of the cool, like a cool thing about somebody, or you've had the experience. And I think that attitude that they have is that they've been around. He used to be, Navy SEAL or whatever, and now he's retired, and he's like, it's sort of like those Batman comics, those George Miller Batman comics, where Batman was like middle-aged guy, and it made him a little bit scarier.
Yeah, that's true.
Or Logan, the Wolverine series. Logan,
right.
They just look
traumatized.
He's got nothing to lose. It's that whole nothing to lose kind of thing.
Yeah, and they look like they've seen a lot of shit, so they've seen it all, so nothing affects them. It's like, yeah, you guys think you can fight back, but you can't really.
Yeah,
this is what I've been telling people for. This is what I've been telling people for all of 2022, that I've just embraced that I'm an old crone who doesn't care anymore. So maybe I'll rob a bank. We never know.
You never know. And who's going to care, really? I mean,
And who will care?
Yeah.
Sonny also loves Logan, he said.
Man, that movie is one of those movies I can only watch the one time. Because I cried a lot.
Oh. This
he's okay though.
He's fine. Hugh Jackman's fine.
Hugh Jackman's not hurting at all. But I also liked the song from this movie, Gangsta. That was a super fun song. It was more illustrated and graphics and kind of motion kind of trailer. But it was actually really fun.
Right.
So the marketing looks pretty good in this, and the trailer looks like a good film. So it's going to come out in a couple of weeks, and we'll see what the reaction is to it. But it looks like a
kind
fun,
of Vikram
movie.
Vidha vibe to me, because it has like the cool older guys in it who are really badass, kicking ass, shooting lots of big guns.
Yeah,
I could see that.
And I like the title treatment. Looked like money. It looked like the style, the etching of like currency.
Yeah, that was.
Okay,
are we ready to kick off top 10? Dun, 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 dun.
Sure.
Okay, everybody's gonna tell us what. And just in time.
Hey, Laura's in the house.
Yeah, it's like an all-star panel today.
Oh, I love it.
Where is she? There she is.
We were just about to start the top 10. Your timing is impeccable.
I love it.
All right. I don't know if everyone has top 10. We'll have to go through them pretty fast because there's 5 of us, but I think it'll be fun. And you guys in the comments, be sure and let us know. We're going to start with 10. So everybody tell us what your 10 is, and then we'll work our way up.
Let's start with number 10. Like
number 10.
We're going to work backwards. See, that's
suspense.
I don't like rating and,
Well,
Sonny, I like the comparison to the Avengers. I would like everyone to now assign us an Avenger.
Okay.
I don't know if I want to hear that.
I love it.
I don't mind being an Avenger. I'll take it.
My guess is I would be Hawkeye, because I'm kind of the one, with the arrow.
Oh, okay.
I don't even want to claim to be anything close to Scarlett Johansson, so I'll just take whatever's left.
Oh, yeah, whatever's left.
Whatever else I can be.
Can I be the invisible woman?
I'm Thor, obviously.
Thor, definitely a good match.
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right, let me get up my list. I gotta get ready here.
Okay, yeah, hang on. I have to
find
it.
I got mine. It's on my phone.
List. Who wants to go first? Who should we
have to hit
with?
Our number 10 to
you have to do that 10 thing.
Oh, okay. Hold on.
Hold on,
We watched everybody movies. I can't believe it.
I'll just hold up 10.
It's movies and TV. So
Jimmy is asleep. He's okay. All right. Are we ready? We're going to start with 10, right?
Yep.
10.
10. Okay. Who's going to start? Let's start with Mark. Just go clockwise this time.
Sure. Okay. I'm going to go number 10 for me was Elvis, Baz Luhrmann's film, which I really loved. I'm not a Baz Luhrmann guy, but that movie worked for me because Elvis is such an over-the-top character. And that movie was so over the top. And I think Austin Butler killed it as Elvis. He had the charisma. A lot of those biopics, they don't work because the charisma of the actor doesn't match the charisma of the subject. But Austin Butler totally captured Elvis to me. It doesn't look like Elvis, but he captured Elvis, and I loved it. So I know it's not everybody's favorite, but I loved it. So Elvis gets number 10 for me.
We covered Elvis on our movie podcast, Still Comfy, and Austin Butler is the only person I will now accept to play the X-Men Gambit. I've never found anyone that I thought could pull it off.
That's very interesting. He was really good, I gotta say. I mean, he was. It seemed like an effortless performance, and he looked enough like him that it didn't matter.
Right. And he played the instruments and he sang, so that's kind of impressive. So, how about you, Kathy? Number 10.
So I have a little bit of a more obscure because I want to give horror its due. So I didn't want to just do the 10 best movies. I want to also throw in some top 10 horror movies. So my movie is Fresh. It's
it so was good.
So good.
It's so good.
Directed by Mimi Cave, and it was starring Daisy Edgar Jones and Sebastian Stan, and he was basically like the date from hell, and he, to say the least. But it was I thought it was a really smart female centric point of view of how dicey the dating scene is, and how you can really feel like you trust this person and they're kind of drawing you in, and then how you can let your guard down and all everything goes to shit like so badly. So I thought that was a great horror movie. I don't think they really stuck the landing exactly, but to me it was one of the best horror movies I saw this year, so I wanted to throw that in there.
Very good. It's on my list too.
Cool.
It's on my list too. It's interesting. Yours where you
that's funny.
I haven't seen that yet. I'm keeping my own separate list of things I need to watch.
I definitely recommend Fresh.
That's really funny. Okay, Bert.
Me?
Yeah.
I got a horror movie too, sort of a horror movie. I guess it's a horror movie. It's a horror movie.
Is it a horror movie though?
I think it's a horror movie, but it might not be. I don't know. It's a horror movie. It's about a werewolf, and it was called Werewolf by Night. It's a Marvel film, and it's in the Marvel universe.
Interesting.
And
that down.
Yeah, I remember being an elder person. I remember the comic book when I was a kid, and it was a really cool comic book. It was like Marvel Comics published they did the series where they had vampire comics, like Blade, and then they had Swamp Thing and all those kind of or Man Thing. I don't know, Swamp Thing, Man Thing.
Man Thing.
But they had these monster comics, and there's a long tradition of monster comics at Marvel. Jack Kirby drew monster comics that were called Monster Comics, and they had a resurgence with things like Werewolf and Frankenstein and Dracula, and I think they even had a mummy. I don't know, but the werewolf was my favorite one because I always liked werewolves, and this movie really captures the vibe of the comic. It's done kind of like a cross between a modern film and an old film. It's in black and white, and it's got this feel of an old style movie. I mean, when it starts, there's even film grain in there, and it's got like an old fashioned kind of title treatment. The music sounds like old timey horror movie music, and it's got a lot of those old horror movie tropes, but it's sort of updated. It's almost like when you were a kid and you would see an ad for a movie or poster for a monster movie, and the poster was really cool, but then when you saw the movie, you're like, the monster was only in the last 5 seconds of the movie, and it was sort of like a lot of filler, and you were kind of disappointed. This one sort of addresses that idea, I think, and it just sort of drops you into this monster world, and it delivers, and I think it's kind of fun. It's not what you might expect from a Marvel film, but I really liked it.
Right.
And I'm not ranking. I don't want to. This is not like my number 10, my least favorite of the year. I'm just putting them all, anything in no particular order.
I panic ranked my list.
Yeah, same.
And they change day to day, hour to hour. But this is just for right now. This is our top 10.
All right, how about you now?
The only one I have. I don't have any more.
I didn't see Bullet Train, and I've been told many times I need to see Bullet Train. My number 10 was, I love Sandra Bullock, and I love that Sandra Bullock is making a comeback. So it was The Lost City with Sandra Bullock and Channing Tatum.
Okay.
That was fun.
Because I still, on sad days, recall that he wore the Fabio wig, and she ran around the jungle in a sparkly dress.
I also loved Brad Pitt's cameo.
Yes, and Brad Pitt like 7 minutes of a Brad Pitt
And he
cameo.
stole it.
Stole the movie. Give the man an Oscar.
He was so good in that. He did play it himself, basically.
Yeah. That is who I hope Brad Pitt is.
I know. I want him to be that weird hippie guy who hangs out in the jungle and does weird stuff.
I
Yeah.
He just
love it.
pops in.
All right. That's a good one. And I like that they're kind of not the expected ones. You know, it's like
Yes.
we're also getting some stuff in there that's not on everyone's top 10.
My taste is wide.
No, mine is very, very
Same.
diverse. All right. Lara, you're up.
Okay. So I put The Hatching. If anyone
sure.
has
Yeah, I've
not
seen that.
seen the
Hmm.
Finish, I believe,
Yeah.
film. I cannot pronounce any of their names, so I'm not going to try
Oh, God.
to butcher it. But it was very dark, super weird, but it was really good. It was an interesting kind of mother-daughter relationship, family dynamic, growing film.
Oh, God. It had
So
the big egg in it, right?
it did, and then some creepy birds. So
Yeah, birds
That-
freak me out, man.
Yeah, I saw it, Laura, and it was really well made and
Yeah.
well directed, and it had that sense of creepiness that was quite nice. So
Oh,
I haven't
very
even heard of this
dramatic.
movie. I haven't even heard of it. So
Yeah.
I like.
So Hulu
Has it, yeah.
has the rights to it
I
now.
love when people tell me the streaming service, so I don't have to.
Oh,
I
IMDb
know.
it later.
Don't
That's
do
why I like this podcast.
Hulu. Yeah, that's that was
Nice.
on my top
Wow.
10. Yeah.
That's a good one. Very good.
All right, I'll
we
go
need
next.
number 9 now.
Oh yeah, number 9, Burke.
Number 9. Number
nine.
9. Okay.
All right, number 9. For me, it's a movie called The Stranger, which is available on Netflix. I don't know if anybody saw
Yeah.
this with Sean
It was
Harris
good.
and Joel Edgerton.
Mm.
It's sort of a crime drama, but it's really a relationship between these two men, and the movie's filled with dread, which is one of my favorite things. If I see a movie that kind of has me really sort of dreading what might happen, this movie fit the bill. It's also got the two leads, especially Sean Harris, who I think you guys might not know his name, but you know his face. He's great in this. I mean, great. And it's really dark, based on, I think, a true crime story in Australia. It's an Australian film. So,
yeah.
in fact, I think 6 of my top 10 are international films on my top 10
Wow.
list.
Oh.
So, The Stranger came and went, but it's on Netflix. Highly recommended. Number 9
Yeah.
for me.
Did not see that.
It's good.
I think it's my recommended for you banner currently.
It is.
Yeah, while I was watching the partner
Oh,
track,
that's
just
so
more
funny.
fluff. I was like, oh, a serious film.
Yeah.
That's really funny. So
Go ahead, Kat.
we showed the 9 number already, right?
Yes.
we did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right.
You want to see it
So-
again?
9.
No.
Is it the other way?
Shit.
You have to do it backwards.
Oh my God.
There we go.
Oh my God. All right, so I guess I'm next. I'm trying to keep
Yeah.
track of us.
Yeah. You're in the-
There's a
Someone
lot
has
of-
to.
I'm gonna get seasick watching this back. Everyone's flying around. So my number 9 is Vikram. Woo! It's as if you
Yep.
read my mind, Deepan. Mm-mm. So I loved it. Number 1 because Kamal Hassan was incredible in that, so fun, and it reminded me of the trailer we just did the reaction to. And also, it has that last scene that is just so blow away with Rolex. This just is a great intro to this bad guy, and it also started the most. And I don't even particularly like children, but it was the cutest child I have ever seen in my life. So
Can I say me neither? But I
I have a
inside
child.
your daughter?
I know.
There's not a
Fine.
cuter child on the planet than this
It's
movie.
okay.
So I thought that was a really fun movie. It was kind of my intro to Kamal Hassan also, and I thought he was just insanely great. And so yeah, Vikram number 9 for me.
All right. Nice eclectic list of movies. I love
It's
it.
all over the place.
Yeah.
Is it my turn now? Do we have to
No, I
figure out
think
who
it's,
are? Is
I
it
think
Burke's
it's-
turn?
I think it's Burke's turn.
Are we
Burke is in
just going
first
in the same
position.
order, please?
I know we're kind of going in the same order, sort of.
We're not clockwise anymore. We're now
don't know what that
counterclockwise or something.
I know. I don't know what's happening. Okay, Burke.
We've gone random.
I know.
I'm gonna
Try.
say something. I'm gonna talk about something that's not necessarily a favorite, but maybe like one of those things that I had high hopes for, and it was kind of a missed opportunity, but I watched it anyway.
Yeah.
I guess that counts for a countdown list on the New Year's
Okay,
Eve,
that was
right?
great.
Sort of a
Mine's number
disappointment.
9.
I'm
The
gonna bring up
letdowns of 2022.
disappointment time. No, I had high hopes for the TV, and we're going to do TV series too, right?
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay.
Don't
I
you
had high
dare.
hopes for Obi-Wan,
Oh, yeah.
Boy, was that a letdown.
and there were some
Letdown.
things in it that were kind of interesting, but you just said something about children and in shows, and
Didn't I?
did you? You said
Yes, I
something
did.
about
I
children.
did. I was
They're
terrible.
Obi-Wan had a really sort of not adorable child in it that was
Oh.
that could have been a classic character. I mean, she was
Mhm.
playing a classic character of all time, you know, and
Yeah.
they should have done a little bit better with the charisma casting, and they also could have done a whole lot better with the stunts, the blocking and the
Were there stunts in that?
coordination of the action and things like that. And it just was kind of disappointing in a whole lot of ways. I mean, a good friend of mine worked on it and did the props. So the props are top, you know. The props.
So you're putting
are
this
top.
at number 9? You're putting this number 9 even with all of these complaints?
Yeah, the setbacks.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I wanted to just mention it because it's such
okay.
a big, it was a big
Honorable mention.
Honorable
Yeah,
mention.
kind of a
We
big
do those
deal.
at
And
the
so
end.
We do
kind
this
of
at the
low
end.
on my list, even though I'm not ranking, you know.
Dishonorable mention.
It's kind of an dishonorable mention of what
Oh
could
God,
have been.
that's great.
Could have been. And it was, you know, if you really love Star Wars, you should maybe watch it and get it. But
Mm-hmm.
but then again,
Don't.
yeah, I don't know. It's on my list because I didn't hate it.
Mm.
And it's a Star Wars thing, and I'm a Star Wars nerd, so I have to put it on there because I sort of have a couple more that I'm going to talk about too. So
That are disappointing.
no, that actually are not disappointing, but I wanted to include this one
That I can't
Okay.
stand. Oh,
so I wasn't obviously like ignoring it or something.
Yeah, that's true. It's good to add those
Yeah.
because it is Star Wars after all. It's still massive. So
It's part of that universe, and
Yeah,
and it did have its moments. I mean, there's a couple of moments in it that were, you know,
yeah,
not
Darth
awful.
Vader was decent.
Yeah.
I have
Alright.
given up on the Star Wars series because there's a lot of them.
Yeah.
But shout out to my dad who went to Disney World for his honeymoon so he could get a personalized lightsaber. You are sane. My number 9. It's my turn, right? That's why I'm the
Yeah,
big one.
it is.
Okay.
That's why I'm the big one.
My number 9 is you ever like come to a party and you realize that your taste is different than everyone else's? It's Marry Me with J-Lo and Owen Wilson, where
I've never even heard of this movie.
okay, so it's a rom-com and J-Lo is a pop sensation in the movie and in real life. And Owen Wilson's friend has a sign. Her like hits, she's supposed to get married during her concert or something, and then she finds out that her boyfriend's cheating. So she just on the fly marries Owen Wilson.
Oh, it sounds like her real life.
Yeah.
She just on the fly marries whoever.
And I love the soundtrack, and I'm usually not a huge fan of like really ridiculous. It's been a while since we've had a J-Lo rom-com, so that was fun too. But it like soothed my jaded heart, and I am told often that I don't believe in love. And I went, but I believe J-Lo and Owen Wilson.
That's true. Well, it could be because of the title of your podcast.
Could be. Special mentions to Freddie Prinze Jr.'s new Christmas movie, Christmas with You, on Netflix because it's Marry Me just at Christmas.
That is amazing. I
Number
love
9.
the eclectic selections we have going here.
Yeah.
It's
This is
very
great.
cool. And also, I think it's New Year. Is it almost New Year's in India? Right?
Almost.
Yeah.
Almost?
Fingers crossed. I don't know.
4 minutes away.
Are they ahead of us or behind us?
They're ahead.
Yeah.
I think.
Is it like
I'm
Australia?
terrible at
Are they
time
like a
zones.
day ahead? Right? They're like a day ahead.
What
They're
time is
10
it?
and a half. They're
Eastern?
10 and a half hours ahead of us.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay.
Watch me pretend
So-
to know time
so
zones
we're-
and just be like, yeah.
I can't
I'm
even
in the
figure out time
oldest
zones in
time
my
zone.
own country. I can't figure out where we are. So,
Time zones are weird.
Time is a
Doesn't make
construct,
sense.
like birds.
Stupid time zones.
exactly. All
Think
right.
about time zones. If you go around the world, the time goes back. But isn't there like a point? There's like right near Alaska, like right between Russia and Alaska, where it all snaps back like a rubber band, and you literally go back. If you take
Which
one
one is the
step,
Greenwich timeline or the
Yeah.
median or right? Isn't it?
but you
I've also
literally
heard-
you can either go forward or backward in time just by stepping over a line somewhere.
Yeah.
Oh, it's
I'm-
kind of like when you're in Arizona and whatever other state and the
Yeah.
times change. Do you know what I'm talking about?
Yeah.
Anyone ever done that? You
I've
stand
also
up.
heard that if you run really fast, you age faster. Like
Super.
It's
Just
true.
make
it's
yourself
true, but
age.
only just a
Is
little
it?
bit. Yeah. But
a little
God.
bit. That's why I don't run.
Oh,
should we
That's
go
right.
on a space-time tangent here? That would be
Yeah.
Yeah.
I could do that. It would
A space-time tangent. We should give. See, I think we're like 2 or 3 minutes away
Yeah.
from New Year's. We can hold off for a second and go Happy New Year to India, and we're right behind you, waiting for our New Year.
Let us know
Yeah.
if it's
I'm
okay.
gonna have New Year's first,
Yeah.
you guys. I'm on
Tell
the
us
East
how
Coast.
2023 is.
I'm gonna have
while
it
you're at
3
it.
hours ahead of you.
Yeah.
wow.
I'm gonna be in
You're
bed.
so lucky.
Right. Oh
And then
my
you're all
God.
going to text me at 3 a.m. Happy
100%.
New Year, Natalie. My phone's going to be on Do Not Disturb.
Mhm. Mine's gonna.
You're gonna
Well, here's what's funny. Mine goes on Do Not Disturb at 11, so
See?
we're just gonna barely make it.
11. Oh my God.
We'll all still be suffering through 2022 for a little while.
Ah.
Make 22 go away. I
White
don't like
knuckling.
Yeah.
Mhm.
We'll call you up and say, how is 2023? Tell us, how is it so far? Is
It's 56
Should we
degrees
bother?
it okay?
in
Yeah, exactly.
Ohio, and it's
Yeah, Lara. I'm just
Great.
happy to see Lara has actual power on, considering what's going on.
I know, yeah.
well.
It's
yeah.
raining today.
It is. Yeah, it's all the snow melted, so it's
Yeah,
it's
we went from a
50-something
blizzard.
degrees outside. It's beautiful.
See, this is what we talk about when we're
December,
waiting.
End of
Weather.
December.
I didn't wear a coat yesterday going out to dinner because I'm
Same.
like, it's Ohio, man.
That is
Yeah.
good.
Well, this
Again,
is
This is like
California.
suspenseful because
We're
we're
in
at number
shorts.
9 and we have Lara left and we just have
Oh.
one more minute. But we have one more minute.
We're gonna wait.
Say
We're gonna
Happy New
wait.
Year.
Yes. One more minute. Less than a minute,
Fine.
actually.
I can do it.
Less
Can we
than
talk
a
about
minute.
how on Google there's a horse chasing a motorcycle and then or the motorcycle chasing the horse?
And that's
I
how they
don't know
chose
if
to
that
depict New Year's.
Yeah, it's what I'm watching right now. It's great.
Oh no.
Is Google okay?
I don't know. I think it's like a motorcycle chasing a horse. It's so
Someone
great.
needs to check on Google.
It's over our heads.
It's so meta that we don't even know.
That I don't
Yeah.
understand. I don't.
It's
get
like
it.
if you click on it, it goes to the website of the person who invented spokes or something
Yeah.
like that.
Yeah,
Or,
right. Google does some
or-
things I don't understand.
yeah.
Hey, I think it's New Year's. Is it New Year's, you guys?
Yeah.
New Year's in India.
Yes, it is.
Woo! You did it!
Sparkles. Happy New Year, you guys. Thank you for being here with us on New Year's. This is basically where we're going to be on New Year's also, just watching movies and hanging out.
Yeah.
I mean, not here on YouTube. We're not going to do this all day, but you know.
My mom got me
For
a
most of the day,
popcorn
all day.
maker for Christmas.
Burke's
Nice.
got his hat on.
Oh my god. Yay!
Yay!
Love it.
Yes. We got that. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Sri Lanka. All right, you guys. All right. So now it's the new year. We've waited long enough for Larry.
Yes.
You've
Number
waited
9.
a whole year.
Literally a whole year. So my number 9 is RRR.
Nice.
Happy New Year.
Nice.
Um,
Triple
I-
R.
thought this film was so stinking fun. It was amazing. It was a bazillion hours long, but you kind of didn't know it. And that's what makes it so great.
It was jam packed for sure.
It was,
And loud.
and there were twists and turns, and I didn't know what was going on 90% of the time.
so
and
funny.
then I figured it out, and everything was amazing about that film. And I think it was up for Oscars, maybe.
It's on the Oscar shortlist, which
On
means
the
there's only like
shortlist.
10. There's like 10 that they kind of released ahead of time. So it's up for best soundtrack and best song.
So-
I think it got, I think that's the best song. Not to.
I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I think it was a movie I probably would have never watched. So thanks to this podcast and Kathy.
That's
and
right.
Mark. Yep.
That was one of your introductions to this craziness.
Yeah.
As was to
"All right,
ours
let's
in
do
many
it."
ways too.
It was.
I'm like,
Yeah.
everything's so fun. Let's do it. Oh, how long is it? Not 90 minutes? Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's very long. It's very
9
long.
days long.
No kidding.
Legit. And everything happens in like a span of what, like a week, or is it 2 days? Because you can never tell
I
how
can't
many
tell.
days have gone by in any of these movies. I'm like,
You know what I just read, and I don't know why I didn't know this before. They shot that in Ukraine, that the colonial where the Natu is at the
Oh,
presidential
yeah.
palace. So that might be
Oh.
where Zelensky hangs out sometimes.
Wow, that's
Oh,
interesting.
Or
that
used
would-
to.
Yeah.
Who knows what's happening now, though? Okay,
hopefully it's still
Hopefully.
standing.
we're not going
Hopefully
there.
there,
We're not
yeah.
going there. Where that was 2022. We're in 2023 right now, talking about movies.
Yeah, and let's hit that number 8 graphic.
Number 8.
Number 8.
Number 8. It's official. All
There
right.
it is. All right, back to
Mark
me.
is
Well,
up.
number 8 for me is a film that Kathy mentioned, Fresh, which I
Oh,
thought was
interesting.
one of my favorite horror films of the year. It really went. I agree with you. The last 15, 20 minutes sort of fell apart. But the Sebastian Stan and Daisy Edgar Jones make the relationship is fantastic.
Yeah, it
And
is.
of course, where it goes is so sort of even shocking to me. Like it's hard to shock me in a horror film. Like I've seen so much.
Yeah.
But this sort of shocked me. It was weird
Yeah.
because he's such a likable character.
And there was that
things sort
sense of fun too, a little bit of comedy. So it was kind of like jarring. Whoa.
right, and really well directed. So Fresh, it was in my top 10 list. Comes in at number 8. So I'm with Kathy
Nice.
on that one. Yeah.
Nice one.
All right. Yeah. How about you,
All
Kath?
right. All right, number 8. So I'm gonna give House of the Dragon a shout out because I did not have high expectations at all, and because I thought the last season of Game of Thrones was so terrible, and they betrayed everything that they built with that. So when House of the Dragon came out, I'm like, well, I'll watch it because I do miss the good parts of Game of Thrones, and that built to be so amazing, and they did not hold back on the dragons, which I loved. The dragons were amazing. Matt Smith is incredible. He makes a terrible, hateable, disgusting person likable, and it just was really fun. And they kept it a little leaner than Game of Thrones. It was a little easier to understand. They kept it in the dragon, the Targaryens' house mostly, with some of their political allies and enemies around them, but they didn't make it this worldwide thing because technically it's at Westeros is all one happy family right now because the king is such a benevolent leader. Well, that's not going to last. So I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really, really solid. And if you haven't watched it, it's definitely worth checking out. Lots of fun dragon stuff, lots of great Game of Thrones type stuff without getting too complicated.
All right. I really enjoyed it too, and I'm not a Game of Thrones guy, so
Yeah, right. That's right. This is your intro. So
You
that's
didn't
I love
watch the
dragons.
original series, so
I didn't watch it.
Was
So-
it didn't matter though, right? It sort of this is
It's
a
a
prequel, so-
it's a prequel, so
prequel.
now I can go into Game of Thrones and have the
Ah.
backstory. So in a way, it kind of works for me.
Yeah.
Interesting.
How about you, Burke? Number
All
8.
right.
Well, I'm gonna stay in my nerd realms here and go from Star Wars back to the Marvel universe because I went werewolf, and then Obi-Wan, and
That's
now
true. You are doing a lot of that.
another sort of supernatural Marvel story that I remember the comics and Moon Knight, the series.
That's interesting.
I don't know too many people who watched it, but
I
it was
tried.
I tried.
it
I
was
couldn't. I need like someone to sit with me during Moon Knight and be like, and now this is what's happening. And it happened with The Witcher too, where I got to episode 3 and I was like, I don't know anything.
Explain it, Burke.
Well, it's one of those things. One of the things I liked about it was the fact that it was so weirdly complicated, and it was also complicated to the guy who's in it. You know what I mean? The character who's thrown into this mythological world, and it really is kind of like the comic book in that way that it goes into the mythology in a real comic booky kind of way. But that's not really fair. It pushes it. You know what I mean? I don't know. It's hard to explain. But there's literally like a talking hippopotamus in this that has a boat that takes dead people across the desert, and it treats it fairly realistically, even though the hippopotamus talks kind of like a modern woman. She's like, hi, and it's sort of surprising that these Egyptian gods have these sort of modern personalities, but then it's implied that that's how you perceive them. There's all this mythological depth to it, and he's kind of the main character. I don't know. He doesn't know what's going. I don't want to give too much away if you're going to watch it, but he's
we only know as much as he knows, and then that's
Right.
why I'm confused the entire time.
Because he's confused because he keeps waking up in a weird situation and like, what the hell happened? And gradually you sort of figure out what happened. And it's Oscar Isaac who's really good. I really like this guy, this actor, because he's so different in everything he does. I mean, he's in the Star Wars universe, but he was also in that movie Ex Machina, where he plays the sort of, I didn't even know that was him. And I was like, oh yeah, that is him, because he plays such a jerk in that. He plays this sort of, toxic kind of Elon Musk kind of a guy, where he's,
oh God.
And you just really don't like it. You can sort of hate him in that movie, but he's so likable in this and Star Wars, obviously. But Moon Knight is one of those movies that is in the Marvel universe, and it's in that sort of monster world too. I think it's in that mythological, supernatural, where magic exists, and this is sort of ancient Egyptian magic and ancient Egyptian gods. Turns out they're all real. And
knew it.
Yeah, I thought so too. Yeah, but I really enjoyed it. I thought it was really well done, and the performances were as good. I mean, it's hard to. I mean, can you imagine being an actor and saying, "Okay, here's your part. You have to play this, this, and this. You have to be confused. You have to be not confused. You have to be this guy, and you have to be a totally different guy." And it's twisty, and by the end of it you figure out what this meant and that meant. You have to know the whole story frontwards and backwards before you even start. And
I tried to explain to my sister that that's what makes Don't Worry Darling good. I was like, because you only know as much as Florence Pugh.
Yep.
Yeah, exactly. You have a POV.
And she was like, I was angry about that movie for 2 weeks. And I'm like,
oh no.
It's fair.
Gradually,
you don't have to listen to my episode about it. Like, don't re-traumatize yourself.
But I kind of like that, where you watch a show and you're sort of in the same situation as the character. You're like, what is going on here? And you kind of have it forces you to kind of think, oh, maybe he's this, or maybe this is happening. Or, that's what I thought when I watched Lost, but it turned out that wasn't the case with that show.
Another show that did not stick the landing. All right.
I'll give Knight Rider. Like, I do love David Hasselhoff, so that just came right to my.
It just worded out. You could.
I'll give Moon Knight another shot because I love hippos.
Yeah, there's a good hippopotamus in there.
I got a zoo pass for my birthday on Sunday, and it's because I'm in love with our celebrity hippo Fiona at the Cincinnati Zoo. Baby hippo Fiona,
very cute.
Her and I are best friends.
Fun fact: hippos kill more people than lions,
and that's why I enjoy them. Yeah. They're petty, and I love it.
And people think they're slow and dorky, and they underestimate them.
No, they'll get you.
They will.
Yeah,
don't turn your back on a hippo. All right.
Fiona spends her day doing hippo ballet for all of us. So,
Just like Fantasia. Huh?
Yes, that's what I think every time I'm there. I also did a Marvel film. Well, you did a short series, but I chose for number 8 Wakanda Forever.
Ah,
I thought
Oh,
it gave me exactly the space that I needed to mourn Chadwick Boseman, and I thought that they did it in a very beautiful and celebratory way. And I like grieving in public, so I was happy to go to the movies and do that
and just
Aw.
weep.
and just weep.
and
Yeah,
just cry.
Yeah,
I know. Even the
But
trailer
all-
kind of makes you
I
tear up.
know.
but also be
Yeah.
so hyped that you're back in Wakanda for an entire film.
That's true.
Right.
You are back.
Yes, I was like, thank goodness I'm back in
Thank you.
Wakanda.
Thank you for bringing me that.
2022 couldn't ruin Wakanda.
Right. As hard as it tries, it cannot.
No.
It cannot. All right, Lara, what you got for
What do I
number 8?
So
She's moving
8.
stuff around now.
I am. I was.
Meanwhile,
like,
I'm gonna take off these gold chains because it makes me look like I want to marry Britney Spears or something.
Well, maybe you do.
I don't know.
You
She's
might.
not even available.
She's
know.
got a boyfriend.
She's married.
has a
No, I thought they got
husband.
married.
Oh, they got married. That's
Yeah.
right. Oh, yeah. I
No,
can't
third
keep up.
time's a charm.
Now.
Poor Brittany.
There
Or
now, I don't
fifth?
look like a early '90s rapper.
Woo!
Do you remember Snow? Because that's kind of who you remind me of.
Oh yeah. Oh my god. All right.
Oh, okay.
Suspense. What's it gonna
So
be?
my number 8 is a series, television series that was on Netflix, Midnight Club.
Oh, I
okay.
did like Midnight
Plan
Club.
again.
It was so stinking good.
And we're not
He's
getting
like,
a season 2.
Nope.
no, he's 3 for 3. No, because they're just like one-offs.
Yeah.
Like
They're
one
like long
series.
movies. Yeah.
Yeah, it's just one big long movie of 10 episodes. But the adaptations to the books were fantastic. The show itself was great. I loved it. I thought it was fantastic. I wanted more, like you always do.
Yeah.
But it's kind of like, reading a book. It ends and you're like, just
All those people.
come on.
I know
What
they had a
happened?
cliffhanger too. But
Yep. And
Yeah.
that's it. And it's just done.
okay.
And I liked it. But yeah.
I would like to put like a top 10 in the future of the Dark Tower. The fact that Flanagan's doing it, I already know.
Right.
it'll be
I'm
a top
so
10.
excited that he's doing it because Midnight Mass was amazing last year.
Oh, so good.
So, yeah,
It was. Flanagan's very, very reliable.
Yes, he is.
Yeah, he's 3 for 3 at this point.
He
So
really is.
let's do it.
He is. He does great
Keep
stuff.
coming.
Yep. Okay.
Number 7.
7.
Number 7.
Woo! All right. What do we got for 7?
Well, for me, I'm going to pick the triple R. I'll put that at number 7 for me. Because, well, we saw that at the theater at Universal Studios, Kathy Burke and I.
Yeah.
And my first Indian film, on the big screen, didn't know what to expect. And, I liked it, and it was like sort of big, bombastic, over the top, but I didn't know what to expect. Going in there, I didn't know what kind of movie this was going to be. Then I watched it a second time at home, and I got it. I got what this movie was, and over the top in every single way possible. Over the top melodrama, over the top acting, over the top, special effects. And once you kind of get that, then it sort of becomes what it has become, this worldwide phenomenon. You get it. The first time I saw it, I didn't get it. But the second time I did, and I realized why I enjoyed it so much, and my family loved it, and I get why filmmakers are liking it, because it's sort of this unabashed, over-the-top film. So it gets number 7 for me.
Wow. That's excellent. That's good. Okay, my 7. Here we go. I'm moving people around. All right, my 7 is Everything Everywhere All at Once. It's sort of, in a way, kind of similar to RRR, where it's so much stuff happening all at once, all the time.
Figure it
Everywhere.
I couldn't finish it.
It was
I
almost had to
try.
watch it in 2 tries because it was a lot. But after I kind of figured out the zone of it, like it started making sense to me eventually. I started liking it better. At first, I wasn't loving it at first. I felt like this is trying way too hard, but it had a few things going for it. Michelle Yeoh, Jamie Lee Curtis.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm just gonna get through this because of them. And then as I got through it, I'm like, oh, I'm getting it now. And then it just kind of builds and builds, and all of a sudden it has this great payoff, and this, it just has a good solid landing. And I love the cast. I love, the whole diversity of the cast is amazing, and it was just, a great, female led cast, and you don't see that very much. So I wanted to give it a call out because she is so amazing and just so solid. It's great, great. So that was my Everything Everywhere All at Once.
All right. On many people's 10 best lists. So.
Yeah. It just delivers a lot.
That movie got hype.
It did.
Yeah, it did.
Okay.
I was gonna have that one, but I'm gonna talk about that. Should I talk about it like right after you did, or
if it's on your list right after, if you're in number 7?
Well, I can put it somewhere else.
We can keep the conversation going if it's on your list.
Yeah. Don't change it.
Okay. That's on my list too. I actually really, really, really liked it the first time I saw it, and then I went back and watched it again, and it was like, now it's sort of a normal movie,
Yeah.
And I do love it. I mean, it is fun. It's they were really committed to an overload style in there, which I thought I think they watched that Gaspar Noé film, Enter the Void, maybe, because that movie is an overload too, that's one of my favorite movies. I love that movie, but it is a hard one to watch. It is torture to watch that movie. But it's an assault. It's like an attack, like a nightmare attack. And I thought Everything Everywhere All at Once, or Everywhere Everything All at Once Everywhere.
We can't
all
even
of
get
the
the
things everywhere.
It was very confusing.
All things to all people. No, it's
all the time, everywhere.
All the time. Yeah, that's the movie. It's
a lot.
I had a lot of fun with it. Michelle Yeoh, of course, is great. The story has kind of a heart, at the center of it. There's a where you feel like it kind of goes a little mean spirited a little bit, but then it sort of pulls back and it becomes like, oh, that I get the message, because at one point you kind of don't like Michelle Yeoh in there. You're like, she's not being a good mother. It's not that kind of character where you see the daughter. I mean, it's a mother-daughter kind of thing. And it's not the kind of movie where you feel like poor mom is being misjudged by the daughter. It's like, nah, she is kind of a jackass,
Yeah.
And so is the daughter, but then at the end you realize, what, they're family, kind of the family love sort of overpowers even when people are a little jerky. So I feel like there's a message in there that you don't really hear people talk about with that movie. It's always about the time travel, the zooming and the flying and the different,
the googly eyes,
and the fight scenes and the cool, which were all great and well staged and really fun. I love the cast. We had so many people from the past that we hadn't seen in a while. The kid from Goonies, Ke Huy Quan, and then again you have James Hong, who has been in more movies than any other person in the whole world. I think he's been in 70,000 movies, and it was so funny. He plays this character in this where I remember when I saw this movie, it's like, oh cool, it's got James Hong in it. And when he shows up in the film, I'm like, oh, it's so sort of sad to see him. He looks so old and frail. But then you realize he's acting old and frail, even,
That's so cute.
Yeah, I mean, but it's like loads of fun, this movie. It's, it is a nonstop attack, but not a nightmare attack. It's a nonstop sort of action movie attack. Goes back to those great Hong Kong action films. Tons of incredible fights. Michelle Yeoh still knows how to do whatever magic she's always been able to do. If you're curious about her, I know people are talking about her, and a lot of people are like, yeah, she was great, but I don't know who she is. Yeah. Check out some movies that she was in the 90s, and back, like she did some Jackie Chan movies and things where she and be afraid for her in these movies, because a lot of those, there was no digital stuff going on. She is literally jumping off of high-speed motorcycles and falling off of trucks as they turn corners and doing these incredible stunts that you can go back and watch them frame by frame, and you're like, that actually happened to her. She's awesome. She deserves all the acclaim she's getting for this movie and more.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, I'm glad she's getting that.
yeah, that's my movie.
Yeah.
Number 7, I guess. We're
All
7.
right.
Okay.
Yep, 7. All right, Natalie, 7.
I have finally arrived to the creepy thriller part of my list. My number 7 is The Menu, because I love when human psychology is our enemy.
I have not seen that yet.
I haven't
It's
seen
so
it, but
good.
I feel like it's going to be a top 10 for me, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yeah,
I think
haven't seen it
Neither
yet.
have I.
Yeah, I made a big priority to go see it. I love, is it Ralph Fiennes? I'm not going to say his name right. Voldemort.
Ray Fiennes, yeah.
Ray
Fiennes.
Fiennes.
Rafe, yeah.
Rafe. I love him. He's the correct kind of creepy for this movie, and it'll come up in another one that's higher up on my list. But I do love when your own psychology like literally plays a role in your demise in these thrillers and scary movies.
Nice.
But I won't give too much away because it's fun to go into that one a little blind.
Awesome.
I love Nicholas Holt also. He's so great and
Yes.
great.
Yeah.
So I know he can play a good douchebag.
I can't wait for you to hate him during this movie.
Ooh.
I love to hate him. He plays a terrible character on the
I
Great
just
also.
muttered to my friend the entire time. I was like, I can't wait until violence comes to him. She's like,
So great.
I thought that way during White Lotus. I wanted them all to die.
Oh yeah.
just all of them.
Just all of
None
them.
of them
Every
are good
single
characters.
person
They're
needed
not.
to die, honestly. They were terrible. All right. All right, we have a 7 for Lara now.
So 7, I'm at Fresh.
Oh,
Ah.
see, we all have it on our list.
There we
That's
go.
amazing.
It's on
That's
our
crazy.
list.
We all put it
Good.
in there.
It's a winner.
Yeah,
It is a
really
winner.
good.
that's really cool.
Yeah, so people out there who haven't seen it should check it out because it's made 3 of our lists. 3 of
Yeah.
our
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's really, it's pretty stunning. And he was right off of that Tommy and whatever her name is.
Pam.
Pam,
Tommy
yeah.
and Pam.
Pam.
Oh, yes. So she had to go attend to her very cute child now. But all right. So, but Fresh, that's great. So we have that on all 3. So so far 3 lists, right? I think we
Yeah.
is it 4? 3.
3, yeah.
All right.
All right, number 6.
6.
Number 6.
Yeah, we're on 6.
There it is. Finding it difficult to click these buttons.
I know. It worked though. These are very dramatic 6 we have. All right.
Yeah.
So number 6 is a film called Watcher. I don't know if anybody saw
Oh, I
that with
loved Watcher.
Micah Monroe.
Yep.
Directed and written by Chloe Okuno, who is a really good director. I think she's
So
got
good.
great films coming. But it's very much, think Brian De Palma.
Ooh.
He's very De Palma-esque, and she's very De Palma-esque in this. And Micah Monroe plays a woman who's married to somebody who's from, I think it's Romania or somewhere over there. And she goes there. So it's a fish out of water and something's happening to her there. She feels very alone, mostly takes place in her apartment. So it has a rear window feel to it.
Yeah.
And it's very gripping. And I think Micah Monroe is great. Like she was the
So
lead
good.
in It Follows.
Yeah.
And I want to see her in more things. So Watcher for me was a top 10. I put it in at number 6.
Yeah, I love that movie because I really like travel horror because I think
Yes.
travel is really terrifying a lot.
Yeah.
so I really appreciate that fish out of water, like being in this unique place and it's something terrible's happening and you're not sure.
And
if
you don't know
should
the
be afraid or not.
language.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Yeah, very isolated.
Right.
Yeah.
So it
yeah,
creeped
that's
me
really
out.
good.
So that worked for me.
That's a great one.
Yeah.
All right. So my number 6 is a film called Kuman. So this is it just came out and I just, for some reason, this movie just blew me away. I don't know what it was, but for a long time, we're always getting these Hitchcockian thrillers. Like everybody's trying to do Hitchcock. This movie so nailed it. Like they brought something new. They made it complex. They made the character complex and not trustworthy. You're not sure if what he's seeing is real. You're not sure if he's a good person. Like, and Asif Ali is so great at it because he just has this puppy dog face. And he's so cute and sweet, yet he has a super dark side. And he's our hero. So you're kind of like, oh, we're gonna have to root for this guy. In the meantime, he's a cop who has a terrible sense of anger and retribution. So anytime someone even like looks at him wrong, he devises these terrible plans to humiliate them and bring them down. It's just, yet you're on his side. That's so it's a really, really well done film. And if you like Hitchcock, I think this is one of the best Hitchcockian thrillers I've seen. The mystery is great. Like it takes a turn about halfway through it, just like you just go, what? It just expands the whole universe, and all of a sudden you're like, what's happening now? Like it was so great. So I highly recommend Kuman, directed by G2 Joseph.
And yeah, I saw it too, and I thought it was really well
So
done.
good.
And also the music is really gripping too.
Music
It's
is really cool. It's like almost like cheesy Halloween music, like this little weird thing, but it so works in so many levels. I don't know why.
Yeah, it was good. It was good.
really
So Kuman was just missed my list, but it was quite good.
So good.
So great. All right, Burke, you're up for number 6.
My number 6 is one we've already talked about, but I'm going to talk about it some more. Triple R.
Triple R. Wow, it made your list.
Yeah, no, it was it's you cannot ignore this movie. It's not.
That's true.
It's like if you've seen it, you're not going to go, yeah, it was all right. You know, I
don't really remember much about it.
Yeah. What was that movie?
You'll never forget it.
The scene where the animals come out of the cages, you know.
Right.
Insane.
I feel like Mark said he watched it and he didn't really too much get into it at first, but then he watched it again. I did the same exact thing. I watched it again. I just started it. I was like, I'm probably not going to watch the whole thing. I'm just going to watch the first part. And I ended up watching the whole thing a second time. And I was like, I think what Mark said is correct. I was like, okay, I get what this is. This is a giant mythology movie. It's a overblown, that whole, and I want to talk about a couple of scenes that we didn't talk about. The scene on the bridge, where they swing back and forth.
Yes. So good.
It's like that type of thing, having worked on films with stunts in them and arranging timing for stunts and having something that involves space and time like that, going back to our space-time discussion. When you're doing things like that, the editing, and I'm thinking about it and I'm like, God, figuring out how to do something that involves this sort of a pendulum idea, this swinging thing. You can't edit that where a guy is swinging way out here and then now he's here and this guy is out there. You know what I mean? You have to have this constant movement through the edit of this thing. And the more I thought about that scene, I was like, wow, that is impressive technically. And I love being impressed technically. And the whole movie is pretty impressive technically, except for a few little, sort of cartoonishly animated animals. But I thought about that, and it's something that Kathy said. She was like, I'm glad they looked like cartoonish kind of, Zootopia type animals, because then you don't worry about them.
Yeah, no, they were just like stylized enough that you didn't have to worry that here are these poor animals being abused.
I know you sort of get past the kind of wish that eventually they're going to start talking or something.
Right.
But they're cute. The animals when they come out, they're like, rawr, and they do what we imagine animals would do if they jumped out of the back of a truck and started killing.
Well, I like that he
colonials.
And the thing is, what I liked is that they brought him in. He brought them in to kill, to cause chaos. And they started attacking not only the colonials, attacking each other and the good side, the Indian side.
Right.
So it was like that was the great part, is that they couldn't control what was going to happen, but that was sort of part of the point too, is to make complete chaos happen. But you're right. It's like there were so many scenes, like the bridge scenes, so much complexity and all these action scenes. I just cannot imagine even staging them. So,
and like we comment about frequently with this movie, it's like 19 hours long. No, it's like it's 3 hours long. It's a really long movie, and it doesn't really. I feel like in a lot of movies there's a lot of padding and. It's like, come on, let's just get to the point. Let's get past this part where we're just walking. But this movie didn't have that. It didn't have that sort of padding filler. There's a ton of stuff in this movie. It could have been a mini series or something, and you probably could have made this story work as a mini series. Could have been 13 episodes, and it would have been full, of stuff. but they compressed. I feel like even though it's 3 hours long, I feel like the story is kind of compressed even,
Yeah.
into this thing. And you feel like you're being dragged along on this intense epic story. And it's relentless, never stops. And it's loads of fun. There's a musical scene in it, a dancing scene in it that is just incredible. The post credit, or the credits ending music video is just the happiest thing, and it's
Right. Yeah.
the movie is just full of great moments and great
it really
fun.
is. Very
So
well put.
it's on my list.
Yeah, it is good. All right, Natalie.
I flip-flopped my 6 and 5, and we'll see if I keep track of that. My number 6 is going to be The White Lotus because I like to hop onto a trend.
Yeah.
And I didn't watch one episode
I
of
didn't.
White Lotus until the week of the season 2 finale because it was everywhere, and I was like, I will watch this.
Mhm.
And I loved it. I love Jennifer Coolidge. I love Steve Zahn. I love all of it. But
Did you
it's
watch season 2?
I did.
I love Michael Imperioli and I love Will Sharp, who
And-
we saw in that Jiri Haji, who was so amazing. That guy they didn't give him a ton to do in White
Mm-mm.
Lotus, but he was incredible in Jiri Haji, a whole different
Yeah.
kind of person. It was
I
great.
also loved right after the season 2 finale hit, all of a sudden all of these posts came up and like Kesha was on set. I was like, why are you on set, Kesha? That doesn't make sense. But I loved it, and I hope that I like anthropology series, and I like thrillers, and I like it when you don't know if you're walking around good people.
Mhm.
And Connie Britton has great hair, and Aubrey Plaza. So
And
it
aren't
has
they all kind of bad though?
yes, they're all bad people.
Essentially,
So
everyone is bad.
so then you're like, but which one of you is bad
Which is
enough to
worse?
kill?
All of them.
All of them.
All of them should die.
And then White Lotus does this great thing where in the last 2 minutes of the season finale, I am sad for one person out of the whole show where I'm like, oh, that's how that's going to end up for you. Okay.
So true.
Okay.
That's your life now.
That's your life now. It's fine.
It's fine. It'll be fine. They'll be okay.
So, and I'm one of the people who thinks the intro song to White Lotus is ASMR. I love it. I'm like, yeah.
I know it totally is.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's very strange. All right. They're at 6. I can't believe we're only at 6.
I know.
Like, we should be at 2 by now.
Remember how you told us to go fast, and then we
I know.
all gave a TED talk about our movies.
About all the movies.
Yeah.
So number 6 is my TED talk will be on Orphan First Kill.
Oh God. Oh,
I stinking loved this movie. It was
That's
so
really funny.
good. The first
heard a
one was
lot about it.
amazing. I love that it like takes you back to the back beginning. Like
Right.
it was amazing. Like just the God, what a horrible like thing to put upon an adult person. Like that sucks. But like damn, this girl is nuts.
oh my God.
I have like sense memory of how I felt in the theater throughout all of the original Orphan, where you're just like, oh okay.
Yeah. Okay. And then it
Alright.
Honestly, I don't think I've seen
Worse.
any of the Orphans. Sorry.
Oh, good.
I
Don't
need
confuse
to.
it with
Yeah,
Orphan
me.
Black, a phenomenal
A
Right.
series.
phenomenal show.
Oh yeah, I
Phenomenal
do remember
show.
that. That's right.
Definitely watch that. But yes,
But Orphan is a few years old. I mean, it goes way back.
Yeah.
The little girl that played the girl in that is now all grown up.
But
Yeah.
yes,
Mhm.
when
Yeah.
she played it again. Like it was the same
Really?
actress.
Mhm.
Wow, that's wild.
So it was even more interesting to kind
Yeah.
of what the so
Mhm.
props to the makeup crew, the special
Oh,
effects
that's
crew to just
Yeah.
like to do what they did to keep her in that like young innocent kind of
Did they de-age her in this?
I mean, she looked exactly the same. It was fantastic.
Oh, okay.
So they did a really great job. She looked younger. And if
Right.
that's
That can either
if that
work or not work. It can either
Yeah.
work
Yeah.
really well or it can fail horribly. And
Yeah.
but no, it
And
was
it's the same with
fantastic.
aging up too.
Yeah.
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 It worked real well.
And if I see someone young, it happened actually in Midnight Mass where someone's aged and you don't know why they would do that. You go,
Right.
oh, I
Uh-huh.
guess there's
Yeah.
going to be a scene where they are old.
You're
Yeah.
like, oh, I
Uh,
get it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
the aging down is hard. We all remember Benjamin Platt and Dear Evan Hansen, where I was actively texting people during that preview, like, what did they do to Benjamin Platt and what is their purpose here?
Right.
What are they trying to make us believe about him?
That's so
But
true.
then you know what's funny is that in the analog days before digital, there were makeup artists who were
Yeah.
masters at this. A guy named Dick Smith who did the makeup in The Exorcist, who did Max von Sydow's makeup in that. And for years, I've always loved The Exorcist, and for years I thought that character who played Father Merrin was played by a really old actor. And until I saw Max von Sydow, I was like, wait a minute, he's like 38 years old in that movie.
I know, it's so true.
So there's people, I mean, aging someone to make them look older is easier than making them look
Mhm.
younger. And now that with
Mhm.
digital technology, we can sort of take away the wrinkles and lift, do digital facelifts and even change bodies like they did in the first Captain America movie. But
Yeah.
still, it sometimes has that uncanny valley vibe to it,
Mhm.
which may work for this character in Orphan because she's supposed to be kind of, sort of bizarre looking anyway, right?
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. No, it was
Yeah.
good.
Uncanny.
Is
All
that
right,
one on
5.
Peacock?
Uncanny Annie is very good too.
Is Orphan First Kill on Peacock?
No, no, it's not.
No,
I've looked. It's
Paramount.
not.
See,
It was a Paramount Plus, I believe, venture.
Hmm.
I was
You
impressed
can
with
get it on, you can get it
Paramount
on
Plus.
you can get it on Amazon too.
on Amazon
Amazon.
too.
Yeah.
Mhm, mhm.
All right,
All righty.
number
Top.
5.
Top
Number 5. Are we ready?
5. Yes.
5.
5. We're halfway. Let's speed this up.
Yeah. Okay. I'll be quick. Number 5, a TV series, Andor, Star Wars. I thought it was
so good.
phenomenal in every way, and I've been kind of bummed out with the last couple of Star Wars series. Obi-Wan Kenobi, Boba Fett was okay. Love Mandalorian. I think Andor is actually better than the Mandalorian. It's much more sort of it has an adult, grounded feeling. I mean, there's people actually having sex in the Star Wars series. Like
Yeah.
it's kind of like
Let
what
me write that
Pre
one
and post,
down.
not during, but
post, but still you're like, oh yes, they slept together, and obviously had something happen. But it's Diego Luna is amazing. Everybody is great in this. Stellan Skarsgård gives one of these great speeches in one of the last episodes
so
that is
good.
Yeah.
beautifully written. It's top flight all the way. I was riveted every episode. Highest recommendation. So it could have gone higher, but it was kind of tough for me. But Andor is fantastic.
it was so good. I agree totally with all
Mhm.
that. That's probably I have a few that you guys listed that just a little bit below 10, like just almost made the list and probably would be, and Andor is one of them. Definitely would have put that up there. So my number 5 is The Boys. It's really every season of The Boys could be in my top 10 every moment because it's such a great cynical but super profane, crazy depiction of superheroes. I'm not a big superhero person, but I love how they took the idea of superheroes and put the realistic kind of spin on it. Like, if there really were superheroes, they'd probably be monetized. They'd be used for marketing. They would have like their they would make money as influencers and so they make it really, really cynical. But then they also make these people who are super damaged and terrible, and you don't know who to trust. And Homelander is just incredible. The actor who plays him has this great, super pushed, heroic look that can go crazy really fast, and they did such a great job. And also, this is from Eric Kripke, who did Supernatural, which is also one of my top favorite shows, and he brings back Jensen Ackles to play Soldier Boy, who is kind of the all-American hero, and he's like a legend, and it's amazing to see what they do with that, which is so good. I mean, just depiction, perception versus reality is just such a fantastic show, and they have an opening scene to season 3 that is the most insane, could not believe what I was seeing moment that I've ever seen in my whole life. So definitely worth seeing. If you can imagine a guy who's Termite Man, that's a really sucky hero power, right? Termite Man going inside a man's penis. I'm just saying that's what's going to happen in the show. And practical, not even CGI. Damaging forever. So that is my my number 5. All right, Berg.
I'm processing that.
Yeah.
Yes, it's insane.
Good luck with that.
Yeah, you'll never forget it. Just wait till you see it.
Okay.
Super good. And also they have a great never mind.
All right. What are we're doing favorite movies and stuff?
What are we doing?
Where are we? I'm thinking about termites now.
All right. So being the nerd, I'm going to stay in nerd realms. I think for the rest of this, the rest of mine are very nerdy movies. I got no classy stuff on here at all.
Throw it right out. Class, not for this.
The next 2 on my list are things, again, sort of like that sort of missed opportunity thing, where I watched them and I had fun with them, but they weren't what I wished they had been. And I really love the Marvel films, right? Love that mythology, grew up with the comics. I love the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It's complicated. It's very well done. But recently there's been some slight missteps with a few of them that it's almost like it's like pulling back the curtain and you're seeing how these things get processed or something. It's almost like seeing how the sausage gets made. You know what I mean? Yeah. And it's like, oh, I kind of see what they're doing here, and it's a little bit obvious. And the movie that really hit that home for me was Thor: Love and Thunder. Because
that almost made mine. I cut it at number 10.
But it's Taika Waititi, who I really like, and I liked his first Thor movie. I thought it was like a fresh breath, breath of fresh Thor air when you saw that one, because it sort of took the character. I mean, when the Marvel Cinematic Universe started, it was Iron Man and Captain America, which were kind of grounded in a sort of heightened reality. And I remember at the time thinking, how are they if they're gonna do the Avengers initiative like Nick Fury is talking about, how are they gonna bring Thor in? Because Thor is from another planet. He's like a god from another planet. And in the comic books, he was so outrageous, and he spoke in these Shakespearean, and I was like, I don't know if they're going to be able to pull this off. This might ruin the whole thing. But then they brought in Thor, and he was perfectly cast, and you just really buy Thor. If for some reason it worked, it totally worked. But then, the Taika Waititi second Thor movie, which was, the one which kind of went into kind of comedy a little bit. And it had Jeff Goldblum in it, and it worked. I think it worked because it sort of put you, you're still in the same universe as the slightly realistic Iron Man type, Hawkeye types, spies and things like that, Black Widow, whatever. And yet here we are on another planet with a talking rock man and all these things. And somehow they made it work. But then this one came along, Thor: Love and Thunder, which again, I think he was trying to go again for that kind of irreverent, humorous thing, but he was pushing it a little bit more. And I think he went over the boundary.
But it still made your top 10.
Well, it's in my top 10 because I just like this kind of stuff, and I didn't really see very much else this year, to be honest.
It's nice you give nods to things that you didn't necessarily think worked, like Obi-Wan and this, but you still want to rank them, and that's really cool.
Yeah, well, I didn't hate it. I enjoyed watching it, but I was like, it wasn't where it should have. I don't know. I'm not saying should or should. I hate that word talking about movies. I don't want to sound like a internet fanboy, but it ruined my childhood. No, it didn't. It was what it was, and I had fun with it, but it was like too much into the comedy, silly, making Thor into kind of a dummy kind of character. Like he's just this sort of blundering and there were moments in it where it was like, okay, that is like fully Toy Story comedy type thing, and it kind of took me out of the reality of it, and it was almost like the Marvel Cinematic Universe became something else, and it was what it was, but I don't know. It's on, and it's on my list, but
it was almost on my list. I loved it. Every time those goats screamed, I laughed.
I know, like,
Russell Crowe was Zeus. Christian Bale was the villain, and that worked. I went into
yeah,
that movie,
he was a cool villain. Yeah,
a lot blind, and I love himbo Thor. I love when Thor stops talking to us about like Asgard and is just meditating under a tree because he's sad.
Right. But I mean, the god of the when they go through the pantheon of the gods, and there's like a god of Chinese buns, and things like that. It was like, oh, come on, that's not as funny as he thought it was. I think. I don't know.
Yeah, probably not. All right, Natalie is up.
All right, my number 5, Bros. I thought that Bros was a great movie.
I have not seen that.
Oh, I liked it very much. I saw it too, Natalie. Yeah.
And I had 2 of my friends go with me, and they watched me more than they watched the movie because they were like, it was just so fun to watch you be so tickled and so excited for that movie to be what it was. And I thought it was joyful. I thought that Billy Eichner made a lot of points during that movie, but he did them smartly. And even when he was like bitter and angry, you're like, I'm on your side, Billy.
He's so good at
you. It's just me and you.
He's very good.
And it was wonderfully cast. I think it hit on a lot of tropes that get thrown out there, but then you're like, oh, but they're rooted in a little bit of truth. And Billy Eichner is going to make it okay for us to laugh at them.
Right.
That's so good.
Yeah, I enjoyed it too, Natalie. I thought it was very smart rom-com characters you really cared about.
Yeah.
And it was just beautifully done. And I actually know one of the producers, and he was happy that we liked it. Should have done better at the box office, but it's doing well in streaming. So
yeah, I hope so. I remember trying to push people to the theaters for it hard because I wanted Billy to do well. I was like, Billy, you deserve this.
He does deserve it. He's great.
It's a good one. Good
Hey,
choice.
Lara, what you got? 5.
Where are we? Number 5?
5. She's like, where's this list? Scribble.
No. So my number.
She's actually watching
5,
a movie right now.
I've seen movies.
My number 5 is Hellbender. If no one has gotten a chance to see it, it is a.
It's on Shudder, I believe.
It is on Shudder. I want to say it was a Shudder exclusive, but I'm probably wrong. But it was written by like a family, so the Addams family, by the which is hilarious.
Oh
no, so bad.
But they directed it, they wrote it, they produced it. Well, it looks like just possibly a family member, just without the same last name.
And did the music too, it appears.
Yep, did the music. And I believe it was their production company, but it was so it was like a all-in family film affair. But it was fantastic. It was so good. It was like a coming of age. I'm a witch. My mom's a witch. It's all the family stuff we didn't tell you about. Oh, by the way,
family secrets.
Here's what happened.
I love when it's your 16th birthday and you find out you're a witch.
Yeah,
that's my favorite plot device. You just turned 16.
Yep,
exactly.
You turned 16. You're now a witch. You had no idea that anybody else was a witch, but also you've been homeschooled, so you don't know normal people.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah.
And then you meet normal people, but you're a witch, so now you're murdering everyone. It's great. It's fantastic.
It's like being Amish or something.
I made friends, and now they're dead.
One of the streamers I watched just likened being a werewolf to puberty because she's currently playing Red Riding Hood in their campaign, but she herself is the werewolf. So she talks like a very surly, deadpan teenager, and she's like, because what is more monstrous than puberty?
That's so funny.
Some people say that's what The Exorcist is about.
Yeah.
It's like Yeah. No, it's like ginger snaps.
Yeah.
Ginger
Yeah,
Snap.
exactly.
Yeah, that's a great
Very
movie
true.
too.
Okay. We're getting up
4.
there.
Four.
Ready for four?
How long is this?
We can get this done.
I gotta go.
Let's go for it.
Okay, number 4. I'll be quick. This is a Norwegian film called The Innocents that was written by and directed by
Yes.
Esker Voigt, who did The Worst Person in the World that won an Academy Award last year.
Yeah.
I don't know if anybody's seen this, but it's about these 4 children in a apartment complex somewhere in Norway, kind of like in the woods, and they develop superpowers. They're not superpowers where they're flying, but they can kind of move things, or they can,
Yeah.
they have
This movie was
telekinesis.
so good.
It's so tense and it's uncomfortable and it's disturbing in a way that you think 4 young kids, what they can do once they realize, oh, I can throw this rock across the room and hit somebody, what they can do if they get upset, as children do. So it's really dark, really tense, nerve-wracking, and it all takes place in the summer, so there's no darkness. It's all in the light, much like Midsummer, Ari
Okay,
Aster's film.
yeah.
It's that vibe. So that's number 4 for me. The Innocents.
Did they wish
Highly
any?
recommended.
Did they wish anyone into the? Did they wish anyone into the cornfield?
Kind of ish.
Kind
Yeah.
of.
It's like four
Terrifying.
Anthonys running around an apartment complex, and what they do.
Oh,
There's a horrible animal death in it. I recommend.
I think that's why I didn't watch it.
Oh,
You
it
told me.
was so good, but oh man, those kids are ruthless. But
Assholes.
there was a similar. There's been a couple similar films, kind of like that, where kids develop. What is it?
Yeah.
Chronicles was one of them.
Right.
And
Yep. It's
then-
like Chronicles a little bit.
And then what's the other one?
Okay.
Fire? No, I want to say Firestar, but that's not what it was. But it was something else where it was Carrie Russell was in it. She was the mom. I can't.
Right.
I don't remember. But
Mm.
maybe Dark Skies. I don't know. Something. One of those. But
There's a lot of movies about terrible children.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Those
it was-
kids.
It was a very good film. Yeah. It
There's a lot of
just it
old-
missed. It's in my top 11.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly.
There's
So
some classic old sci-fi stories about children developing powers. There's, the Village of the Damned is kind of like in that genre where
Oh
kids,
god, that one was
the idea of
terrifying.
where little kids develop powers, and that of course that you referenced the Twilight Zone episode. The idea of a child having special powers it goes way back, and because it's such a horrible idea.
Yeah.
it is. The idea of them with power because they don't know how to control their impulses.
Right. Exactly.
And on the other side of the realm about people really controlling their impulses, but also driving them crazy, I'm putting The Decision to Leave in my top 10 because that was such an artful, beautiful, strange film. And it's directed by Park Chan-wook, and he has done some of the best films. He did Old Boy, he did The Handmaiden, Lady Vengeance, Thirst. Like the guy is just unstoppably great. Like I just love his movies. So he brings he brings it down a notch into kind of very human. It's kind of a crime story, and it's got this great, this man's found murdered. They think it might be the wife. He kind of becomes obsessed with the wife on some level. He doesn't really speak her language really well. She's Chinese and he's Korean. So there's some scenes where she's talking to him and she puts it in her phone as a translator, and then she holds it out and she's saying all these strange things, but it comes out as a man's voice, like translating her, and it's all very surreal and weird. But it's got a great mystery woven in with this weird love story that you aren't really rooting for, but then you kind of are, like, just really complex and great. And he's just such a great filmmaker. So I wanted to put that because it just was so different from anything else I saw this year. So that's going in the top 10.
What's the name of it again?
Decision to Leave.
Decision to Leave. Okay.
Decision to Leave.
Yes.
I've heard about
Putting
it.
that on my
It's so
list.
good. It's really good.
All right, Burke. Number
All right.
4.
Next.
I'm
We can
gonna
do this. We're getting there.
Well,
So
there's
close.
there's another one. I just this isn't my one, but I want to mention it just to be a completist. Similar to my concerns about the Thor movie, the Doctor Strange movie that came out, Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness. It was directed by somebody that I've liked for many, many years, Sam Raimi. You know, you expect. I mean,
Yeah.
he did those Spider-Man movies, which were pretty fun. You know, lots
Expected
of
something
fun.
better.
Mhm.
Oh, he's done some pretty spectacular stuff.
Mhm.
But he does a certain thing, and he does that certain thing really well. And when you apply that certain thing that he does to a character like Doctor Strange, who is sort of this uptight, you know, not so much. He's sort of like the dad of the Avengers in some ways. He's sort of like the one that will scold you, and so he's kind of like more adult kind of a character. You know what I mean? The other ones are kind of the ones that goof around, and Doctor Strange was always the one that was like, listen, I just saw 3 million versions of the future and we all die. You know, he's the dark one, you know. And I think this movie tried to sort of lighten him the way they were trying to do with Thor, and it didn't necessarily work. That approach to the character of Doctor Strange, I think, didn't really work. But anyway, I'm not gonna. That's not my film.
I thought that movie was awful, unwatchably
I know.
terrible.
And then I really
Hated it.
liked it.
I put it as my worst movie of the year, probably, because it didn't deserve that. And Benedict Cumberbatch was sad to watch him in it.
Yeah,
go ahead.
it was. But so what I
Okay,
want
so
to
what is
bring
your
up
top 10?
instead of that is something else that I'm liking. I'm not through with it yet, but I've watched 4 of them. Cabinet of Curiosities.
Oh, so
so good.
good.
Yep.
Yeah, Guillermo del Toro, you know, is he's a monster kid all the way through to the bone. He understands scary stuff, and he understands how to make something beautiful. That's another thing, how to make the horror beautiful. I think that's one of the things he does. When you look at his movies, they're not just this relentless bloody attack of slasher horror. There's beauty to them. You know, he gets the best designers to work on his films, and and
Yeah, they
always
were
has,
great.
always has really beautiful stuff in his movies, and these are like little movies. They're hour-long anthology television series. I've seen only half of the 8. I think there's 8, right? I've seen 4 of them, and hit and miss a little bit, like with any anthology. But they're beautifully produced. The production design is gorgeous. The cinematography is beautiful. The performances are great. You get people like F. Murray Abraham and a bunch of other actors that are in these things. The stories are the type of stories that I think are they always. I mean, everything goes back. All roads lead back to those old EC comics, I think, from the 50s. The sort of grisly comeuppance of those comic books where somebody does something that is awful and then they get some sort of supernatural comeuppance at the end, you know, and it and they're written to have that last panel in the comic book of the monster or the thing attacking the person, and then it says the end, you know. And and these shows do that. I have some issues with the stories not being exactly what I expect from them or what they could have been. There's something with that doesn't quite work perfectly for me. But all in all, they're fun to watch. There's one about like beauty lotion that I thought was a slog. That one didn't really pull me.
Oh yeah, I didn't like that
anywhere.
one either.
Yeah, it wasn't good. It wasn't good.
Yeah, it was.
Who those the actor and actress that played in that, Martin Starr, and I forget the other girl's name, but whenever they're together in things, I feel like it's like a half flop.
Interesting.
And I don't know if it's
They're just not fun.
Yeah.
It is a bit stereotyped in a lot, you know, that of course the women that she worked with at the job are just absolute horrible stereotypes. That I mean, there's kind of, to me, it was like a stereotype that you would see in a movie from the 80s though, or something.
Yeah.
It was kind of an old timey stereotype.
I don't know.
Is that still a thing? I mean,
sadly, yes, but
Yeah.
at the same time, I didn't need to see that.
Right. But then there's there's one called The Autopsy that I really liked that has F. Murray Abraham in it. And that one is a dark, it's a horror horror film, but it's also science fiction, which is kind of interesting. It has a interesting twist. It's got a, it's cool. And then there's one about grave robbers, this sort of Victorian-ish, but more modern times in Salem, grave robbers and magical rats and zombies and things like that. It's a fun show if you like horror things, and if you like something that's beautifully produced, Guillermo del Toro style. So that is my number, whatever we're on.
Yeah, they were great.
Great.
All right.
Great.
Natalie.
All right.
We're on 3. No, 4. We're on
4.
4. Sorry.
Oh, so close.
I know.
Mine was my movie of the summer, and it was one that I feel like I waited decades for, but it was just that I was in love with it from the first preview. Bodies.
Oh,
I
interesting.
love every moment of Bodies. Lord of the Flies is one of my favorite things to see redone in new ways. I love Lee Pace. I didn't hate Pete Davidson in the movie. And
that's funny.
That's impressive.
And she screams in the middle of the movie. It's really hard to produce a podcast. And I was like, yes, keep screaming.
That's right. You're talking to me. That's right.
I do. I love it. I love the whole idea of you're trapped in a hurricane. So like, let's do a bunch of drugs and like have a party and then yell at one another until violence ensues. It was so much fun.
I want to see that.
Bodies. Okay.
Bodies. It has a great soundtrack too. It's like you're in the
on my
club.
list. I just haven't.
That sounds like such a 70s grindhouse
you're
movie. Like you'd see that on the marquee of the drive-in in 1972.
But it's like we finally handed the torch to Gen Z to be like, it's you now. Make scary movies.
If you're able to.
If you can.
All right.
3.
That's a good one. I need to see that.
Oh no, later.
Okay. We're
Are
on
we
4.
We're on 4.
You're on 4.
Yeah.
My phone's gonna die, and then where's my list?
Oh,
It's gonna be, you're gonna have to remember.
My number 4 is Smile. And I didn't think that I was gonna like this movie. But I did, and it was like a new version of The Ring, right? That we haven't seen in a while.
Right.
But I think that I really appreciated how it ended. I like it when not everybody wins.
Yeah. I always love those. It takes
Like we
nerve to
didn't
do that.
figure it out. I think fantastic. It was creepy. It was the cinematography was great. I enjoyed it so much more than I thought I was going to. Plus, I do love Kyle Gallner. It is whatever. But so Kevin Bacon's daughter, I don't know how to say her name. Sosie, is that it?
Yeah.
Sosie. Oh, she did such a fantastic job. I would love to see her just do so well. She was great.
Yeah. He has a great Instagram too. I worked on the Smile poster. I didn't get the finish, but I did do a round of comps for that.
It was so good.
Very cool.
Yeah. All right.
Yeah, I remember
I
seeing
wanna
the
see
trailers
that.
and things for that one, and I was like, I don't know if that's going to
The
be.
trailer
I
did
mean,
not
Right?
make it look
It
good.
didn't make it look good, but
Yeah.
man, it delivered. It really did.
Wow. Okay.
Why am I having trouble here sliding everyone around?
What's going on here?
sliding. Natalie just will not leave the top 3. We'll just have to remember what
I'm a
order we're in.
star.
I'm the star.
All right, Mark, you're up. We're almost
Are we
there.
gonna-
3.
Yeah,
Let's do it.
3.
Okay, this is number 3.
Rapid fire 3.
3. We're getting there, people. Thanks for hanging with us. We're almost there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll be quick. This is a completely different thing for me.
Take
This
your
is a
time.
nostalgic film.
Don't take your time.
It's called Apollo 10.5: A Space Age Childhood. And
Never
it's
heard of it.
Aw.
Never heard
Oh, it
of
was written and directed by Richard Linklater, who's done lots of great films.
yeah.
it. Yes.
And it's a rotoscoped animated film about his childhood growing up in Houston in 1970. And I'm about the same age as him. And so it's my childhood. I grew up in West Hartford. He grew up in Houston. He had, the space, the space program in his life. and my dad was an engineer. But there's so much, if you relate to late 60s, early 70s, watching TV, just your life you led. This movie hits the nail on the head like only Richard Linklater can do it. He did Dazed and Confused, of course.
Oh, okay.
So it's kind of came and went, but it's on a lot of top 10 lists. It's on mine because I thought I had a smile on my face the whole time.
Wow,
Apollo
that's a good
10
one.
and a
I've
half.
not heard of it. That's
Check
cool.
it out. It's really good.
Nice.
Putting it
So
on the
that's my
list.
number 3.
Number 3.
Doing it quickly. Moving
All
on.
right. My
Rapid
number
fire.
3
Well,
is.
these are the important ones. We should sort of
I
focus
know,
on these.
but at the same time,
mean-
everyone's asleep now. So,
Right.
so okay, my number 3 is Nope. I thought that was such a great surprise. It was so unique. I thought the styling of I don't want to give too many spoilers, but hopefully
Yeah.
people see it. But the styling of the entity or whatever we're talking about, really unique and cool. And I like that it kept changing, and it was just, and I love the Western aspect to it. How they ran like a Hollywood horse farm where they would rent horses to movies, and just that whole aspect was so fascinating, and the performances were so good. I liked Us, and I liked what was his first
Get
movie?
Out.
Get Out.
Get Out.
I liked them, but this one, I liked it the best of all. I thought this was his most
Really?
ambitious. I thought
A
it was
lot of people have been
gorgeous.
telling me that about
I
Out.
thought
This
this was
time-
by far his best movie.
I thought this was his biggest flop. Oh,
No,
Oh, no.
I
not
have
at
to
all.
When I saw it
I
in the
loved it.
theaters, I was on like day 18 without air conditioning during the heat wave. So I was just like watching it like this,
Oh, that's
just
funny.
like trying to suck in like
enjoying the air conditioning.
cold
Very
air
cool.
from the movie theater. I think I have to watch it again.
I really, really, for some reason, it struck me at the
Ah.
right time in the right mood, but I loved it. I thought it was so fun.
Interesting.
All
All
right,
right.
All
Bert.
right.
3
Interesting. Is it number 3 already for
Yeah.
me?
already. It's taking forever to get here.
I know.
I'm gonna go way out
2
on
hours
a
later.
weird limb for me, and something that's sort of uncharacteristic, unexpected from me. I'm gonna put the Batman on the
Ugh,
list.
I know.
Watch it.
I hated that.
I
Rumble, rumble.
really liked it. I thought it was a different take on the Batman. I really love the Christopher Nolan things. I even love the 60s TV series. I love anything. I grew up with the Batman, the Batman comics and Batman stuff. I had Batman toys when I was little, and Batman has always been a part of my pop culture, sort of a touchstone, And this was a different take on it. And I really like the idea that fictional characters can be rebooted and rebuilt and redone and refigured, a totally different Batman, a different actor, a different style. The Christopher Nolan films to me are just incredible. I like all 3 of them. And especially the second one though, the Heath Ledger Joker one, I think is a classic film. But this one took it into a different thing where it was a little bit more grounded, I guess, more like some of the more recent comics where there's kind of a film noir essence to it. It's more like a crime thing. Also, Batman in a lot of the early comics was known as the world's greatest detective. And Batman the comic books that Batman was featured in were called detective comics. And they were a lot of times about Batman solving crimes, and all of his gadgets, that we talk about. He's always got these gadgets and things. They were forensic science gadgets. He had like infrared and all, these things that could find fingerprints and detect blood. And he could do chemical analysis with something he pulled out of his pocket. And I like that aspect of Batman being smart. I mean, not just suddenly having these gadgets and using them, but actually being the guy who designed those gadgets and being a smart detective. So
Instead of just being rich,
yeah, that was
because
like
that's his superpower. He's rich.
well, that's one of the lines in one of the movies where somebody says, "What's your superpower?" In the Justice League movies, which
Yeah.
are a totally different universe, where the Flash guy says, "What's your superpower?" and he goes, "I'm rich," and it's like,
I have money.
that's kind of funny line, but I prefer this Batman who is rich, but he's also smart and a detective. He's clever. I think that's the best word for it. And he dresses like a bat. But I liked it.
Yeah, I think my problem was I feel like he just kind of came into rooms with cops in it and just kind of stood around. He goes, "Oh, look at that," and that was basically all he did. I felt like they kind of took some of the energy out of Batman. He wasn't very super,
Oh,
but
I didn't attempt it because it was so long.
it was very long.
So,
right,
my number 3 is Barbarian.
Yeah.
I
Excellent.
could talk about Barbarian for hours.
Love it.
About everything I think Barbarian represents, about all of the things I think that they did right, that they were trying to get across to us. But also, I could talk to you for 2 hours about how everyone has gotten Bill Skarsgård's character wrong. And he's like, and it's like, oh, he's such a good guy. No.
Nope.
And I have
Right.
receipts. So I loved Barbarian, but it's one that you can't talk about without spoiling it. Everyone should go into that one blind.
Yeah, it's well worth seeing. I agree. It has a lot. I mean, that was on my close to top 10 list. I loved it. I thought, everything about it was intriguing and different and weird. The setting of Detroit, the sort of bombed out neighborhood and what was going on. So wonderful choice, Natalie.
Wow.
A new take on Airbnbs and
Yes,
I keep hearing about
a new
that
take
one.
on Justin Long.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
I thought the
same
first
take on
half.
Justin Long, I think. No, what?
I just wish it had stayed in the first. Like I loved the first half, didn't love the second half because I think they're almost two movies. So the first half, I
is,
love that
for sure.
idea of getting to this Airbnb, being with the stranger, and then the house has all these secrets. I love that. But then I thought the second half was kind of like, oh, it's fine. But I did really like the first half a lot.
All right, Lara, how about you? Number 3. What's
It's gonna be.
So my number 3 is Resurrection. If you have not seen this, so I love Rebecca Hall and anything that she is in.
Right. Yeah, right.
I mean, like hands down.
love
Yes,
Nighthouse.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is a jacked up movie about she basically fled from this like cult controlling man who was like 25 years older than her when they got together. He essentially murders the baby they had together and says that he ate him. It's a whole mess. And then he finds her again and she's got this daughter like years later. It's a whole wackadoo film, but it's so good, but you can't tell what's a dream and what's reality and what like where her mental break is. And so it's so good. It's such a good movie, and you kind of just have to watch it before I spoil it all. It's so good.
Right. What's the name of it again?
It's called Resurrection.
Resurrection.
Yes. And
if
I
you
think
like
that you can see it on Shudder, I want to say. It's on Shudder. Yes.
I have a book recommendation for you. If that's the kind of vibe you like, I don't know what's real.
Get
I
it.
don't know what's
Gimme,
just
gimme.
someone's delusion. Night Bitch. It is
Night
about a
Bitch.
woman who may or may not be turning into a werewolf. She's kind of unsure about it. You're kind of unsure about it. And it's all about the feralness of women and how we hide it and how we celebrate it and all of it.
We're hiding
on the
it.
list.
We're
Loving
hiding
it.
our feralness.
Recommending it for our book club.
Elizabeth read it too, and I would love to have people to talk to about it.
Oh, I'm doing it. Yeah.
Two.
All right.
Two.
Number 2.
Two.
2.
Yeah. Number 2. Ooh, there's 14 people watching.
Two.
Two.
I can't believe they stayed up this whole time.
Yeah.
Thank you. We're getting there. We're almost there, you guys.
Almost there, and I'll be quick. Number 2, I love simple, straightforward action films. Sometimes I just have to give a shout out to those. They're like my bread and butter, contained thrillers. And this one was a huge hit on Hulu. It was called Prey. It was a Predator.
Oh.
Yeah.
The Predator reboot done by Dan Trachtenberg, who did 10 Cloverfield Lane. And this is Predator, but it's back like 300 years ago. And the Predator comes and fights these indigenous people somewhere in Montana or Wyoming or something. And what I loved about it is like it's lean. You just get right into it. The Predator is interesting because it's like 300 years previous. So even his technology's a little bit older and weirder and a little bit more, primitive, I guess. But I just thought and Amber Mid-Thunder is a star in this. She's the hero, and she's wonderful. I just liked everything about it. So as far as a quick 90-minute in and out, and I watched it a couple of times, and some incredible action scenes, really well directed. I get a shout out. So Prey gets my number 2. Kind of a surprise, but I loved it.
Wow.
I tried Prey, too much animal killing, so I was out. Out. Not gonna watch it. Even CGI animals, I can't deal. But other than that, it sounds like it's gonna be good.
It is. If you get past that, there's a scene where the predator is against these French poachers, who the predator doesn't like when animals are killed for no reason. So he does it in a different way. It's it's cool. A weird sort of thing, but it's an incredible scene. Just watch that 5 minutes. It's amazing.
Wow.
Cool. All right.
Okay, and that's
good to hear.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Number 2, Severance. I just thought Severance was the coolest, just profound, great show. I loved everything about it. I've worked in an office most of my life, and so a lot of that was really ringing true, because when I worked on a lot, and the hallways were like a maze, they all looked the same, and I got lost all the time, and then going up the stairs was like a freaking like Escher painting, and it was so I really related to the fact that you're lost in this sea of corporate, not only structure but mindset, and you have to kind of become this other person when you get to work, and you have to speak in a certain language, and you have to put your mind into this construct that's kind of this artificial, we all work and we do this, and then when you go home, you're just like, I'm free, I'm different, so I really related to that, and I just love Adam Scott. I just think he's so amazing. So that was my number 2. So good, and just really just unique and fun. I mean, it was very slow burn. At first I was like, where are they going with this? Like, it just seemed very low key, but then every episode, and also I might mention Christopher Walken.
John Turturro. I mean, it's fantastic.
Insane cast. So every episode you're sort of like, okay, I'm kind of getting this. They'll do this mind-blowing thing, and very low key, not showy way. Just really smart series. I really liked it.
Severance.
Yeah, it's fantastic.
And it's a series, right? It's
on Apple. It's on Apple. Yeah.
Oh, cool.
All right,
Bert.
Who's up? Me? All right. I'm going to bring up, so this is going to be quick because I'm bringing something up that we've already talked about, but I'm going to mention a couple of things about it that we didn't talk about before. I'm going to bring up Andor again, because that is my number 2. I think I had a lot of fun with that series. It had so much stuff in it. One thing that I like is when a series gives you a whole bunch of, you don't feel like there's filler. You don't feel like it's taking the whole series to tell one story. This one told several stories through the series. It didn't seem like they were laboring their way through to tell one. It could have been the whole series about the heist, the first heist on the base, on the bad guy base. But no, that was just the first part of it. And then you get a whole prison heist. You get a prison escape movie in here too. And then you get this political intrigue, and there's this sort of spy drama and all these other little things that go through it. There's like family stuff, and you get different stratas of characters. You get like the low life people in prison, and then you get the politicians, and you get to actually see parts of the Star Wars universe that you never really saw much of before, like the big city life. And a wealthy person's car. Like, what does a person's car look like? How do they, that I loved seeing that kind of thing of like a shop, a store. What does a store look like in the Star Wars universe on Coruscant? You go into a store and buy something. Okay. It's like so anyway, that's my number 2 is Andor again. It was, it was loads of fun. I totally recommend that. If you love Star Wars, you'll love it even more if you watch this.
Agreed.
Yep, totally. All right. Boom.
Natalie.
2. My number 2 is actually from 2021, and spoiler alert, so is my number 1.
Not allowed. Not allowed.
I didn't
You're
date
fired.
check.
Breaking the law.
I didn't date check.
Kathy told me that was acceptable because she did it last year, so I don't know.
She's totally making that up.
So my number 2 is Yellow Jackets, because I was also a kid who loved Lost, and I love.
I haven't seen it yet. Oh,
it's so good.
Too much animal killing again.
And
See, those are like
yeah.
colors for me. Way too much.
And you get all your favorites back. You get Juliette Lewis and
Mhm.
Christina Ricci, and it's just so good. And I can't wait for season 2, which I think comes out in March.
Oh,
Mm.
nice. Was
I
that
wanna
two
check
that
that.
1921? Was that really 1921? So I'm over
2021?
here looking at there's 1833, 1899, 1923, all these shows. I'm like, which is which? I can't.
Yes, I went back in time to 1921. Me and Christina Ricci, and we went to the woods.
I would
And
actually like to see that actually.
yeah, and honestly, it plays into like I read a book in college. It's somewhere around here. It's by Libba Bray, and it's called Beauty Queens, and it's a book all
yeah.
about how what happens if a plane full of Miss America teen contestants crash on a deserted island, and do they become in fact Lord of the Flies?
Definitely would, but
Right.
worse. I would
And
think.
so it brought me right back to that, but then I was like, ooh, and now I get an adult spooky version of one of my favorite books.
Nice.
Oh,
Oh, that's really good. Lara, you
Oh,
oh
I'm here. Aha.
two.
So my number
Two,
two,
two.
right? We're on two.
yes.
Barbarian.
yes.
Ah, there we are again with Barbarian. Excellent.
That
So
is-
good.
It was just so good. I know. So
I do love Bill
Uh,
Skarsgård.
Yeah, very
yeah,
smart.
and it was perfectly played. So
Oh,
It was because he's instantly likable and adorable, but
And
then he
yet-
was able
is
to play that sort of
terrible.
trying too hard, being a little creepy moment. You're
Uh-huh.
like,
Yeah.
oh,
you're really hot, but this is not working for me.
You don't
Yeah.
have to tell me that you may have drugged my drink. I already thought it.
I
Ha ha
already
ha!
knew
You're probably
it.
thinking I drank a drink. Ha ha ha! It's
but
like, oh,
also
dude, you're
the
being
fact
so
that you
creepy right
didn't
now.
want to leave, I would have left your ass. Like I would
Yeah.
have nope. Bye. See ya.
And we were all wrong.
The entire
All of it.
time,
Doesn't
I
even
was-
matter.
the entire time they descend, like she descends into the basement, I'm just like saying to myself, I'm like, girl, we don't even know
Girl.
him like that.
I
Walk
know,
out of the
exactly.
house.
You
I'm
don't
not
have
go-
to do this.
Him.
He's a stranger. We don't have to get strangers out of murder basements. We don't have
Get
to.
your keys and GTFO.
911.
Look outside.
We
That
can
drives me
call
crazy.
for help from the car.
It made me crazy that people don't call 911. All right.
Yeah.
But then we wouldn't have movies. I
That's
don't
true.
know.
I know. It's true. And,
Yeah,
you,
true
and I did
enough.
want to go down in the basement. I did want to see it. What was in there?
See,
It would be funny to make a series of very short films that were like 30 seconds long, where
Yes.
people actually did the smart
would be
thing and called the police, and the police came and arrest the killer,
That would be
Yes.
so good.
like in one scene.
It's like Michael Myers comes in the house and you're like 911.
911.
And they come, the SWAT team comes and they shoot him.
Exactly.
The end.
Fire couldn't even kill Michael Myers. You think the police
That's
are
true.
going to?
But they could save you.
Right, That's true.
Not even breaking his arm on the kitchen counter could do it.
Right.
I wanted the whole last Halloween to be in fire. Like when he comes
wanted
out
it
of
to
the
be in
fire, I was
fire.
like, what if this is the whole movie? It's
The whole
just
film
us.
has been burned up.
The house is on on fire, and we also have to escape Michael Myers.
True. We are at number one of the
Number
year.
one.
Woo!
Number
Okay.
one.
Yeet, yeet.
All right.
Number one, Mark.
Okay.
It's not
Mark
pressure.
is all ready.
Number one.
No, I know. Well, it's hard to put a war movie at number one because they're so intense and dark.
Mm.
But the Netflix German production of All Quiet on the Western Front was the best
Wow,
film I
really?
saw this year. Yeah.
Wow, okay.
It's
I'm
maybe the
gonna-
best
I'm really
war
looking
movie.
Forward to that.
Maybe the best war movie I've ever seen in my life. Better than
Oh,
Saving
wow.
Private Ryan or
What?
Full Metal
Dunkirk?
Jacket or
Who directed it?
Dunkirk.
Kelly's
Ed-
Heroes.
Kelly's Heroes, Paths of Glory, yeah, all that stuff. It's if you know about it, it's from a German soldier's point of view. World War One, at the end of the war, Germans are going to lose, but still the German, the head honchos, the generals say you have to go fight. So it's just so sad to see these young kids
Yeah.
thrust into the war that they're going to lose, they're going to die, and that's what happens. It's very intense. There's a scene. It's directed by Edward Berger, some German director. There's a scene where these German soldiers see the first time ever a tank in war in combat,
Oh,
and they come out of this fog like monsters,
that's good.
and they're in the trenches, and these things just attack, and they're just shooting, and they can't beat the tanks, and it's just horrific. So It's not a feel-good film. It's a hard film to watch, but it is brilliant. Daniel Bruhl is an actor from like some Mission Impossible films. He's like the one star I know. Everybody else, full German cast. Highest recommendation, best film of the year.
Wow.
For me.
And it's a great book too, I must add. It's a book that I read when I was just starting out reading books. And when you read a harrowing book like that, like when you're young, it stays with you for your whole life.
Yeah.
And that book really has stuck with me. I've read it a couple times since then too. It's an amazing book.
Yeah, it's an amazing movie. So I recommend it. If you have to be in the mood for it, though, I will grant you that.
Yeah.
Sure. But anyway,
cool.
That's number
Definitely
one for
on
me.
my list.
So my number one, because its absence is very apparent, I think it's very clear what it probably is Triple R, because for a few reasons. One is it was one of my first introductions to Indian film, and we were covering it through our when we started doing videos on YouTube from our podcast. It was one of the first things that was requested to us to follow, like the teasers and the trailers, and
Right.
we had no idea what this movie was going to be. And so I feel like I kind of grew up with it in a way in our YouTube channel. So when we finally got to see it, it was the pandemic. I hadn't been to a movie theater in forever. We rallied and went to a movie theater for the first time in years to see this movie. And I'm so glad we saw it on the big screen. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Because that Natu song, I mean, that thing was so stunning in the big. I mean, it seems weird like this dance scene would be a big deal, but the sound effects, the way they use that music, the weird flanging, just so well done, and just the screen, just glorious, crazy action. I mean, it was such a huge, like, eye-opening, adventure that I just did not expect, and it was just so accomplished and technically great. Hit all the notes, like, the whole cast was so great. They were all so good looking, and everything was so beautiful, and it's just fantastic. I mean, the fact that I get past him killing a tiger tells you a lot about this movie.
Right.
It still haunts me. I don't want to ever see that again, but I will see the movie even though they did that terrible thing. But at the same time, it was a CGI tiger, but it was still sad.
CGI.
It was still very sad, though.
Yeah.
I did not like it.
Right.
You
Like
didn't
the
have to
very
do
scary lion and beast
Yes.
with Idris Elba.
Yeah, just
Right.
that's why I did not watch that movie either. I'm like, don't kill lions. Just don't. You're the
loved
bad guy,
Yeah.
not the lions. And it's just not.
That's the whole point of Beast, though. We are the bad guys.
We are the bad guys, but they're still killing lions. But
Right.
anyway, I'll go off on my weird tangent. Glorious, amazing film, life-changing for
time.
me. It just really opened my eyes to so many things. So because it has such a profound effect on my life and my movie going, I'm putting it at number one.
Very good.
And it's a fun one to see a second time, like we talked about before. It's like
There's going to be a screening here with the cast and the director, and I was going to take some friends to that and introduce them to this movie. First, I was going to watch, to have like triple R viewing party. And I'm like, maybe I should just go to the theater, because that would be the way. IMAX, just holy shit, this thing would be blow away. So we'll see what happens. I'm hoping I get tickets. It's probably impossible.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay. Number one for me. Number one is Shin Ultraman.
Yay! So good. So good.
The nerdiest movie ever made. It's a part of my childhood was being blown away by afternoon television when I got home from school, watching things like Dark Shadows and reruns of Speed Racer and anytime the Japanese stuff came on, though, my attention was completely drawn to whatever it was. I mean, there were things like Spectre Man and other Japanese shows that made it in, like Space Giants, really weird, kind of low budget Japanese TV live action TV shows. But the best one was Ultraman, and he was an alien from another planet who can it's a human who holds up this thing called a beta capsule, and he becomes a giant silver man thing, whatever he is. And he fights giant monsters. And it was just, I loved that movie. I mean, that show when I was a kid. And the movie that they just made takes me back to that, because I think, the crew that made this, same people that made Shin Godzilla, really get what it is about those shows and about those old movies, the old Godzilla movies and the Ultraman show, that appealed to us. There's something about it that you have to get. And if you don't get it, you make a movie that's got Ultraman in it, but it's not Ultraman movie. This is definitely an Ultraman movie. It's loads of fun. It's funny. It's exciting. It's got giant, crazy monsters in it. It has a bizarre alien presence in it, and it has a lot of unexpected stuff. One thing I love about it is that it doesn't seem to be influenced at all by American films or American pop culture or anything. It's very Japanese. That's why I don't think it's, and it seems like they don't care that it's not going to do good on the American market. You know, it is a Japanese kaiju film, and it's loads of fun. I highly recommend it. I had lots of fun watching it. It's Ultraman.
It's Shin Ultraman. Yeah, that was very much
Ultraman.
fun.
All right.
Mine is WandaVision. I believe that WandaVision is perfect television. I believe that they did everything right in pre-WandaVision because I knew nothing about WandaVision going in. And then you would look on IMDb and you'd be like, what are these pictures? None of these pictures add up.
Right.
And then it all came together and you got to be nostalgic. You got Elizabeth Olsen gives the performance of a lifetime.
She's amazing.
In WandaVision. And we're going to get a spin-off with the witch, Agatha. I can't wait.
So excited.
That's so good.
I love
Catherine, the mighty Catherine Hahn, who is a
She's
sweetheart.
incredible.
I love
in real life.
Hahn.
I worked on a TV series with her for 7 years. And she's just the best. She's very cool in person. So just so you know.
And I love that. She can call me. We can be friends. It'll be fine. I've been craving the Scarlet Witch costume, the original costume, and then like
the red
with the red and all of it. I've been craving it ever since Elizabeth Olsen took that role, and I hated the like red leather jacket. I was like, I hate that. That's nothing. That's nothing like the original costume, nor is it cool. And then they did the original costume, and then they updated it to be a really cool Scarlet Witch costume. Ugh, it's perfect. I actively miss that show every day. And you know going in it's going to be a one-off and you think it's just going to be another Marvel thing. And then the moment it was over, I was like, I am mad. Let's have more.
Yeah.
I know. That's how I felt.
Okay, the fact it was 2021 kind of makes sense since it's kind of time travel-y, right?
Yeah,
it's okay.
Okay, we can time travel with WandaVision.
I get to celebrate the last like 4 years all as 1 year because COVID rules.
Exactly. That's
true,
There's a
yeah.
blurred line between the years.
We're still doing that.
Yeah.
All right. We're at the end of one. The finale. What is it?
Bones and all.
I haven't seen that yet. I can't wait to see it.
Very, very good. So,
Number one.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I feel like I liked the way this well, first of all, I love anything Giallo. So this is the same director that did the Suspiria remake, which I've problems with, but it's fine. He's fantastic and he's amazing.
Look, it's Call Me by Your Name is unbelievably great.
One of I think it's like his 7th film, and it's kind of like a vampire cannibal hybrid movie that I think is just so like fascinating, right? Like the first half of the movie you're like, okay, I think I know where this is going, and then you're like, oh, that took the turn. Okay, here's where we're at.
Okay, I can't wait to see it.
So no, I think it's fantastic. I think they did a great job. I think all the actors were fantastic, and it was because it's a younger team, because it's still a love story. I mean, that's kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Overall, but it's great. I think it's super fun and dark and weird, but
we love dark and weird.
So
dark
good.
and weird, yeah.
Dark and weird is where it's at.
Yeah,
dude, it's over 2 hours.
it.
We did it.
I know. We went all the way down all the numbers.
All the numbers, and it took us a long time, but we did it, and you stayed for most of it. Thank you so much.
But what a lot of great stuff we talked about.
So much.
2022 wasn't as bad a year as I thought. You know, there's some good things that happened.
There's some
in 2022.
absolutely,
some
yeah.
film,
And-
some escapist stuff. You know, to get away from the pandemic. You know.
That's right. So
I can't wait to be here.
If you came in late,
Yeah.
be sure and watch the beginning of this episode when it's posted, because we did a reaction to the new
Yeah.
Thunivu.
Yeah.
Whatever.
Thunivu.
The
Yeah.
gangsta thing. We saw
Yeah.
the official trailer just came out.
Right.
We'll probably break that off into its own video also, but definitely check it out. All right. See
Thanks,
you guys
everybody.
later.
Happy
Bye.
New Year, everybody.
Hi, everybody. Happy New
Thanks for
Year.
joining us.
Bye.
Bye.